Hi all, Hipper here. Today we're taking the Edinburgh out for a crazy battle, and I have an agile build here with a sure lane Baltimore and Takao as inspirations, and then I have all the usual perks, which is all about rudder and speed. On the ship I have the improved rotation here, because after the nerf last month it was getting too slow. Then I have double rudder and I have the improved reload. And of course I run radar on my Edinburgh. I don't see why I would do anything else, honestly. 7-second reload, 15 range, and 1.9 second rudder and 37 knots. So very fast rudder and like above average speed, but still nothing to celebrate. So for once I get some really good guys to spawn with here. Usually when I get this spawn, everybody else hides behind the mountain there to my left without contesting the hotspot. And if you do that, you might as well just give the hotspot to the enemy, because once the enemy has that hotspot, it's very, very hard to take back. And there is a reason this map is called hotspot, because all the fighting happens in the hotspots, because that's what you need. It's the only cover on the map. So it's, if you don't head in here, or at least set up some sort of firing angles, you can support the ships inside the hotspot. You're setting your team up for failure, honestly. So anyway, like I said, I spawned with some really good guys here, and the DD is heading in, which is perfect. So I'm going to back him up, which is my role, and this is what agile cruisers do best. Head into the cap with the DD, and as soon as he gets in trouble, if he gets in trouble, you're there to help him out. And of course he gets in trouble here. Like running into an Edinburgh like this at less than 5 kilometers, that is a very nasty surprise. And smoke is not gonna help him, because I have both sonar and I have radar as well. So in other words, there's absolute no way this guy is going to take on my destroyer, because I'm here and I took him out in a matter of seconds. And this is what cruisers do. They back up destroyers. And if you're sitting outside the hotspot like the other cruiser on my team, you are not helping at all. And the hotspot would most likely fall to the enemy, and that robs your team of cover and the opportunity to actually get tickets from the cap. And it puts a lot of pressure on your team then, because you have to take that cap back. One, because otherwise you'll lose, and two, because you have no cover otherwise. And you cannot just sit behind the mountain and wait like so many players do on this map here, and it's really annoying actually. Because obviously then like nobody needs to push, the enemies don't need to push, they can just sit, hold the cap and take it easy. So if you don't have the cap, you're in huge trouble. Very, very big trouble. But luckily in this case here I have great backup from at least the destroyers here. That friendly destroyer, he's doing really well. So that's awesome when that happens. And if you spawn here in a battleship, then don't enter the hotspot completely. Just sit at the fringe, but make sure that you can actually support your team. Don't hide behind a mountain where you cannot get your guns in action or anything like that. And don't kite away, and like you need to like make an effort in actually trying to take the hotspot, because if you don't, it's a massive disadvantage right from the beginning. So as you can see now, we have all the advantage here. We have taken the most difficult hotspot to take, which is C. B is easier. And now the DD is smoking me up, which is even better. This guy is great, because I don't have to worry about getting spotted now. I can just pepper this Bismarck here and make him rethink his choices. And as you can see now, the impetus is on the red team to actually push in again, because they've lost the cap. And if they don't do anything, they're going to lose the game. It's very simple. So like this way, you're forcing the red team to do something, and most likely they will make mistakes then. And then of course you can take advantage of those mistakes, because you are introducing an element of time here, that they cannot just sit out there, because like one, we have cover and we can shoot at them, and two, the longer they stay out there, the more points we'll get. And third, it's also very, very difficult to actually retake a cap, because all you need is just one ship somewhere on the map that can send a shell your way once in a while to reset your counter, and you will never take the cap back then. Many people just forget about that, and they don't understand how important it is to secure a cap as the first. Of course, that doesn't mean to just, like, you know, YOLO into the nearest cap and just hope everything is fine. I mean, I do that sometimes, I'm happy to admit that, but that usually when I don't get any support at all from my team, and well, that's just bad luck then. Moving on to the next battle. But like I said, in this battle here we actually have pretty good backup, and you can see the destroyers are out there spotting for me, and like I said, they're doing an awesome job here. Absolutely fantastic. It's so rare to get players like this when you play solo. It's wow, it happens 1 in 20 battles, something like that. It's extremely rare. So Ice Cold and Bad Blade, the players in the destroyers, thank you. You're doing an awesome job in this battle here. So as soon as this Belfast here is out of the way, you'll see what I mean by the red team making mistakes. Because they're starting to realize that time is running out. They are down to 10 minutes now, 9 minutes only, and they don't have this cap yet. And we are ahead on points by nearly 200 points. So they have to make a move. There's really no no other option. So this Bismarck here is pretty much alone on this flank now. And unfortunately I've lost both my destroyers now. So I'm going to have to figure this out some other way. And I don't want this Bismarck here to enter the cap, because that means I won't generate more points. So if he looks like he's going to enter the cap, I will rush him. It's very simple. Now I have my Edinburgh 30mm bow armor, so I can totally bow tank this guy here. It's not going to be a problem at all. But he does have nasty secondary, so he can set me on fire. So that's why I'm just giving him a little bit more time, just to get a little bit closer. Because of course, the closer he is, the less time I have to spend in the open taking fire. And I mean, although I can bow tank him, of course, if he can get off one salvo instead of 2 salvos, obviously that's better. So he looked like he was going to enter the cap, and that is a pretty bad decision for him, because that forces me to make a move. And had he stayed somewhere out on the side, I would probably just be sitting in here. But he forces me, so he's going to have to taste some torpedoes here in a minute. Now, I just love these single fire torpedoes here on Edinburgh, because when you in a situation like this, it just looks so nonchalant when you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna get close, and then you fire, and then I'm going to put one torpedo here and one there, and I'll just have one more there, and it just looks really yeah. Well, that's why I call it a gentleman cruiser, I guess, because it is very makes everything look very easy. So next up we have this Kutuzov here out in the open, and I was really hoping to citadel him out here so I don't have to deal with him, but I wasn't that lucky. I did get a high caliber out of it though, but he just has a slither of health left, and we'll have to deal with him some other way. It's just a bit annoying, but anyway, there's 2 versus 2 now, and if you didn't notice when the game started, this is a 7 versus 7 game. It's not 9 versus 9, and if you know me, I love these smaller games here. This is actually not that small, but I love the 5 versus 5, 4 versus 4, 3 versus 3, and so on. So I don't know if you've noticed, but this game here is not 9 versus 9, it's 7 versus 7. And whoops, we lost the carrier there, so that means I am the last hope now. And I am, well, 2 versus 1, but that Kutuzov is almost dead, so not so much of a problem. So anyway, the game is 7 versus 7, which I like, because I enjoy these smaller games here. I prefer 5 versus 5 and 4 versus 4, even 3 versus 3, that's also a lot of fun. But I am happy with the 7 versus 7. And the good thing is that agile cruisers become so much more powerful when there's not 9 enemy ships, because there's less people to citadel you from odd angles, and it just like it makes you exponentially a lot stronger right from the beginning of the battle, which is very important. Because usually you get to this point here, like where there's 7 versus 7, it's usually like 10 minutes into the battle, perhaps something like that. But in this way you get the whole 15 minutes where you are much more powerful. So I use my radar here to see the Kutuzov. I could wait and get closer and just spot him normally, but I just need to get him out of the way really, because I am using my last radar on him. And I know that the last ship left is a destroyer. So I really could use a radar, but I'm just putting all my trust in my sonar to get this last destroyer here. So we are ahead on points here, just slightly. So my plan is to get to A and take it away from the destroyer, basically. Because I'm in a bit of a problem here, because if I go for any other cap, the destroyer will just go to C and cap that. And I need to get up here, and preferably I would like to take the destroyer out of the battle and win that way. But like I said, I spent my last radar, so I only have my sonar to use. And it is an Akizuki left, so that means this is probably going to be a gunfight if I ever find him. Because really, now they are ahead on points. All that guy has to do now is just disappear, and he'll win. But for some odd reason, he decides to challenge me. Because even if I manage to take the A cap, and I'm still behind on points, so I have to go take another cap. So all the destroyer has to do is just to wait somewhere north of A cap until I leave to go for another cap, and then he comes in and caps it back, basically. Of course, I would probably not do that. I would probably pretend to go to another cap and then hide behind an island and wait for the destroyer to come back and take, or try to take A. But first I have to cap, so first things first. It's a bit jarring sometimes to see these plays here where like a certain victory, and this is a certain victory for the red team, basically. If that destroyer just stays out of my sight, he will win, no matter what. But for reasons unknown to man, I guess, some people just have to win harder, and like he decides to, like I said before, get into a gun battle with me. And a gun battle with an Edinburgh in a destroyer, although you are in an Akizuki, and I still have a heal left. Probably not the best idea. I mean, I like to get a little bit of excitement at the end of a battle, so sometimes I don't like just disappear and let the timer run out. But in this case here, if I was the destroyer, I probably would have done that. Because it's not like he's been carrying the whole team or anything, so he has like some sort of unofficial right to decide how the game ends. This is just a guy that plays the game, and he decides to basically throw the game, which is fine with me, of course, because it'll give me a Kraken and a victory instead of well, a very good game and a loss. I guess perhaps he was worried I had another radar and he thought he might take me on while he still had some distance between us. But still, it's a bit of a gamble that in the end doesn't turn out very well for him. And I do love when I get to flex my agile muscles like here, where you can just zigzag, and it makes it really, really hard for the Akizuki to actually land most of his shells. And that way you will prolong your survival rate by like a factor of 2 or something like that. So now he turns to go broadside, which is also a questionable choice, but we accept gladly, of course, because there's only him left, and he's all that stands in my way of a Kraken and a victory. So we're not gonna hesitate. So that was a 7 versus 7 in Edinburgh, where I killed 5 of the 7 enemies, and that's like, I don't know, what's that, 80% or something like that. And a Kraken and 130,000 damage and 3,300 XP. So all in all, a very good game in my Agile Edinburgh here, and I love this cruiser here with an Agile build. It's amazing. And I've said it before, and I'll say it as many times as you want to hear it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you out there.